Hello, my name is Ann DeSantis. I'm the director for the St. Raymond Donatus Foundation for Freedom, Family, and Faith. I want to tell you what's been going on with us since we've been in existence in 2015. The Mercedarian Friars came together and decided that they wanted to start a foundation to make outreach to families in crisis. And that's exactly what they did when the St. Raymond Donatus Foundation came into existence as a nonprofit 501c3 headquartered in Philadelphia. Since that time, I became the director in the beginning of 2018, and we basically have four facets to what we do. We offer prayer, priestly consultations, podcasts and videos, and also programs and events. Now, if you've never been to our website, just to invite you to go to nonatus.org and check out all the great things that we've been doing. Because since that time, since we've been in existence, we've now helped hundreds of families who are going through really challenging times. And as you all know, we went through a really challenging time in 2020. So I'd just like to invite you to go and check out the great things that we're doing. And there's more to come. If you or your church community would like us to come and do some type of an event where we can talk about what we offer in terms of that pastoral accompaniment and making outreach to families in crisis, please do reach out to us. And I'm just so grateful to be able to serve people like you and your families. So again, learn about us at nonatus.org. Thank you.
Fiat Ministry Network and Patchwork Heart Ministry present Journeys in Faith. Now, here's Ann DeSantis.
Hello, and welcome to Journeys in Faith here on Fiat Ministry Network. This is Ann DeSantis. It's great to be here. I have a wonderful guest for you this evening. I have Lizanne Hagedorn, and she is the Executive Director with Nutritional Development Services in Philadelphia. Lizanne, thank you so much for joining us.
It is my honor and my pleasure to be here. Thank you, Ann.
Same here. And you've also been a guest on my podcast with Bill Snyder, the Sowing Hope podcast. So that was also an honor to have you there doing amazing work. And may I also mention that we got to know each other since I'm on the board for the Catholic Charities Appeal in Philadelphia, and Nutritional Development Services is such a big part of that. So I have a short bio that I wanted to share with everyone, is that you're the Executive Director of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, Nutritional Development Services, where you've worked for 38 years, continuing lifelong mission and answering people's needs. So Liz, take us on your journey about what has it been like for you working over these last 38 plus years? Because I know when the article was written that you sent me, it was probably a couple years back. Maybe it's even beyond those 38 at this point. So take us on your journey.
Sure. Thank you again, Ann, for having me. It has been a journey. I did know that when I was in college that I wanted to do work. I wanted to do service. I wanted to do meaningful work. And though I studied food marketing at St. Joseph's University, I just was always struck by the lack of food equity at first I was concerned with it internationally. But then, realizing that it was right in our backyard, right in my backyard, that there was a problem with people having access to food. So, as Providence has it, the director of Nutritional Development Services, which at that time was probably less than 10 years old, posted an internship at St. Joe's, and I responded to it. And it was to assist the business manager at Nutritional Development Services. And I came and did the internship, and then I stayed and eventually got a full-time position with NDS, and I've been here ever since.
Yeah, you're doing amazing work, because let's face it, after this past year with 2020 and even into 2021 with the pandemic, you and I just saw each other actually last week at an event for something called Project Magus, which does the same exact work in helping to bring food to those who need it. And I was blessed to be there for the fundraising event in Philadelphia. And, you talked about what it was like for so many families and individuals, and that it wasn't just like the poorest of the poor, like Mother Teresa talks about, or has talked about, those poorest of the poor. They were very much like people that were just like you and me, all over the place, whether they be lower income or people who are really not having food, even when it's not pandemic, during a pandemic time. Can you explain to those watching, what was that like over the last, say, year and a half?
And it was one of the most incredible experiences that I have ever had, not only in this work, but as an individual, as a person of faith. And what we saw, I will sum up by what our driver, we have a gentleman who drives every day to take food to people that need it and people that are donating it. And what he said to me very, very early on in the pandemic was that I am now seeing people in line to get food who used to be the ones who were giving the food. And that really laid it out for us, that we just, had to do more, and had to make things work. We had to go out of our normal way of thinking to get food to people that really have never been in that kind of situation before. And I also tell the story that in some of the distributions that we had in the communities, some of the people that were driving through, we knew. And God bless them for their bravery to come through, knowing that it might be very hard for them personally, humility wise, but when your family needs food, you need food. And yes. I thought very, very important for my staff and all the people that volunteer with us to just try to joyfully embrace them. We're the same. We seem to have it today, maybe in the future you'll have it and you would give it to someone else. So it was just about sharing and really no judgment, because the pandemic just opened up something for all of us. We just had no idea how long it would be and what it was going to mean for all of us. None of us knew if we would have our jobs or our children would go back to school or whatever the situation may be. It was really a quite unnerving time for everyone.
Well, I want to commend you on the beautiful work that you and your team has done for the whole entire greater Philadelphia area with nutritional development services. And I also want to invite people who are watching. Now, we get viewers from all over. I'm also in Philadelphia area, but on Fiat Ministry Network and Patchwork Heart Ministry, where it's streamed out, it is basically reaching people all over the place. So if they want to check out the great work of this particular archdiocese, I'll go to nutritionaldevelopmentservices.org. Again, we are with Lizanne Hagedorn, and she's doing beautiful work. And it's also helping the Catholic Charities Appeal, where I'm also on the board, and helping to bring hope where hope is needed most. I mean, what's more important than that? And also food for your stomach and being able to be fed is just the most important aspect, I think, because how can you really be living out life normally without not having proper nutrition. That's the most important thing. Can you tell us who are watching, how does it work within Nutritional Development Services? Because I'm a member at a parish up in Schwenksville, PA. It's called St. Mary's Parish with Father Louis Bellapede as our pastor. And I know that you're probably familiar with the school there. And I'm also on that board too, so I hear about the work of Nutritional Development Services, even from my own parish.
That's great. Thank you, Anne. So NDS works really in two distinct ways. The first is to sponsor federal feeding programs for children. And what we're finding more and more that just doesn't pertain to urban centers, that there are pockets throughout our counties where the children are really in need of some healthy meals at little or no cost to their families. So that's one way, and then the second way is the community food program, where we're able to support cupboards or outreach programs in parishes and other community groups, where people can go when they need some assistance with trying to feed themselves and their family. So we try and support these cupboards by conducting food drives and also purchasing, kind of filling in where the food drives don't quite make the needs of what families and individuals have, and children too. And we try and even out and are able to offer a pretty good variety of healthy foods for families.
Yeah, thank you again. And this is really good work, because when you give to Nutritional Development Services, it goes right to getting the food to the people. So don't worry about the fact that whether the money is not going into the proper place. It is helping 100%, right? I mean, it is going to help those families. Now, how can they help in terms of monetary donations? Where would they go? And what if somebody's saying, hey, I live in the greater Philadelphia area, I want to give some food. Can they also do that as well?
Sure, that there are so many options, and it's amazing how creative people are as far as trying to donate. So the easiest way to donate to NDS, one is to go on to our website, which you mentioned, and we do have a donate button there. All of that money goes to the community food program, and that money is used to purchase food. So that's a good return on your investment. NDS can also be supported through the Catholic Charities Appeal, which has been our backbone for umpteen years. I mean, we would not be what we are without the Catholic Charities Appeal and the support of the board and all the people throughout the year that make our work known. And if anyone specifically wants to do anything unique or different, we could either hook you up with a food cupboard in your area where they could receive the food from you, or we would make arrangements to have it picked up and transported to a place that you may want to designate. I think it's really important to affirm the good work, that the generosity of people, and so we really want to make sure we know you're giving from your heart and from your pocket, and we want to make sure that the other end it goes where it's intended, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, no, you said it very, very well. Now, when we think of the greater Philadelphia, I think of those, I believe there's 5 counties, right? So it's Philadelphia, Montgomery, Bucks, Chester, and Delaware County. Now, are there any other outside of that area, or is it pretty much just those 5 counties?
It's pretty much the 5 counties in which we operate. And amazingly, it's a lot of territory.
It is very big.
From Scottsdale all the way down to Tufcanaman. I mean, there's a lot of miles in between. And I mean, and I have to say, I give kudos to so many of the parishes and the communities that have taken it upon themselves to help those around them. You know, we're obviously not the only game in town. I mean, the one thing we learned through the pandemic, so many wonderful initiatives sprung up because of the need people saw within their own communities. So that's
Yeah,
great.
everyone deserves to be fed. There's no one should go hungry, no matter what your circumstance. And so I think that that's a big part of what it means to be Catholic, is just not only providing prayers and love and everything, but we need to also provide those material things. And food is number one. I mean, food and drink is definitely at the very top of the list, when
Yes.
yes, and it's a way to give, really to give love to others, I think, as well. If somebody's watching, they might be outside of the greater Philadelphia area, but maybe they love what you're doing. Do you know of other areas in I don't know, in other states or whatever that they could maybe contact, or how that would work? I'm not really sure.
Sure. You know what would be a great alternative for people who are not in our area, listening area, would be to contribute to Catholic Relief Services if they wanted to keep it within the Catholic faith. The wonderful thing about Catholic Relief Services is when you give to them, a quarter of what's collected stays locally, and 3/4 of it goes to their programs that are international. So you really are doing two things with your gift. I mean, you're helping people right near you, and you're also helping people throughout the world. And that's what we're called to do. Every little bit. What do they say? Every little bit we can do can make a difference in someone's lives. So
That's
think
right. And I commend you, because you've been doing it for so many years now, and really have, really grown into, I know you said, I think before in our other interview, there were 3 other directors, so you're the 3rd, but you have really grown into this beautiful position of the executive director and done so much over the years. So I just want to thank you. We still have a lot more to talk about. However, we do have to take a short break here on the program already. We're halfway through. So we will be right back here with Lizanne Hagedorn from Nutritional Development Services from the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. We'll see you all in just a few minutes.
Today, many students go to college with numerous questions about their faith, yearning to know if the seed planted in them as a child is both true and practical. Using the miracle on the road to Emmaus as a model, young adult ministers conversed weekly for 3 months with college students about the most pressing questions they had about the Catholic faith. As they journeyed together virtually, something amazing happened. Doubts disappeared, fears faded, and Jesus revealed that He is still alive. Hearts Burning Within Us, the latest book from Patchwork Heart Ministry, is a result of that grace-infused conversation. It is the perfect back-to-school gift for recent high school graduates and current college students. Get your copy for them today at patchworkheart.org or by calling 424-704-3278. That's 424-704-3278.
As I said at the beginning of the show that we have a wonderful guest, I'll reintroduce her again after this break, is Lizanne Hagedorn from the Nutritional Development Services from the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. And you can learn about them at nutritionaldevelopmentservices.org. So be sure to check it out. A lot of people who are watching right now may be from our area, but even if you're not, I do encourage you to give, because you're really helping a great big area here in this Philadelphia area. It's 5 counties, as we talked about before the break, of helping people to get food and be fed from Philadelphia, Montgomery, Bucks, Chester, Delaware counties. So welcome back, Lizanne.
Thank you. So
Yes.
good to be here.
Yeah, it really is. And would you be able to share with our audience the way that this position that you're in over the years, how you've been affected in meeting some of the people that you've been able to help, and what has that been like for you over these 38 plus years?
Great. Sure. I'd love to share that. You hear the expression that we stand on the shoulders of others.
Mm-hmm.
And that's truly the case here. I was just privileged and honored to work with our founding director, Patrick Temple West. and also the next director, Lorraine Knight. So, you know, they really forged ahead the work of NDS, and I'm just kind of honored to be on their coattails, as they say. But what we have seen, and this is really the interesting thing, the dichotomy of the work that we do, is that we are helping people on the level. We are band-aiding the situations when people don't have enough food. You know, how can we help them for the long term? We know that for the day or for the year or the month, however, we're helping them to cope and to be the best that they can be. But how can we help them to really come out of the situations that they're in? And it's a very complicated thing. And you know, Philadelphia itself and other pockets around the area have poverty, and we have some very, very high poverty in Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia area. So that's always the burning question behind everything we do. I know we're feeding people for a day, a month, a year, but how are we ministering to them? And I'd like to believe that we can be the hands, the face, the legs to bring the message of hope, that we care about someone, that we care about them this day, that we want to share with them the resources that we have in our, I guess, in what we do. We've been given resources. We're able to use federal funds as well as donations from people. And I think it's important that we look long term to see how we can solve some of the issues that people are finding themselves in, that prolong them being in a situation where they continue to be hungry and worrying about how they're going to feed their families.
Yeah, that's a good point. Worrying how they're going to feed their families. That's an important thing, because when you think about it, these moms, these dads, these grandparents, these aunts and uncles or neighbors, you know, they worry about not only themselves, but they worry about the children and the elderly and people who, you know, we're all dependent on eating every day, right? But I mean, those who are in our care, right? Those who are in our care. And so I just think it's a beautiful thing that you are helping all ages. And now when you think of the schools, you're making a huge impact. Like I said, I'm a member of St. Mary Parish up in Schwenksville, PA, with Father Louis Ballapidi as our pastor. I know that I've received the emails from church about nutritional development services and how they've served the people at my parish and the parish school. So I'm just very grateful to you and to your team and to the Archdiocese for offering this, because I can't imagine what it would be like to be a student and go to school and sit there and have nothing to eat for lunch and seeing other people eat and think, my parents can't afford to give me lunch on this day. So isn't that wonderful? Tell us a little bit about those actual meals that you're providing for the schools. Like, what are they, what is it like for the students? Do they get something in the morning too? I'm pretty sure that they're provided snacks and things like that as well.
Yes. So last year and this year are quite unique in that the federal government has made it possible for all children in any of the schools we sponsor to receive a free breakfast and a free lunch. So, I mean, in essence, these are our tax dollars at work. So the beauty of that is that you don't have any of the stigma, oh, that child gets school lunch or that child gets school breakfast, that's available to anyone who would like it. And so I think not only is the child being nourished, hopefully other children are taking advantage of it as well. So the children are ready to learn, which is amazing, is what we need. I mean, I feel that our children have so many distractions today, worrying about things on social media. So, you know, getting them into their schoolwork, playing hard, learning hard. I mean, these are all the things we want for our children. And at the same time, for those families, and you're absolutely right, Ann, there are grandparents who are raising children. There are aunts and uncles who are raising children. And it just takes a load off of them knowing that the child will have the fuel that it needs to go through the school day, and even after school into their activities. So another program we have is the after school snack and supper program, where children that are in some type of enrichment program are able to get another meal or a snack to hold them over till dinner time. So I feel that it does two things: nourishes the child, and also for those parents that are struggling, it really assists them with their budgeting and worry. And I know personally there's so much I take for granted. I open my refrigerator, there's food in there. I go to the supermarket. I'm not concerned whether I have enough money to stretch and to feed all those that are depending on me. So, I am grateful for that. And that's another reason why I love this work, because I want other people not to have the concern of how to get their children what they need.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, because as a parent or a grandparent or a caretaker of sorts, whether it's for young children or for elderly or just anybody, there's a concern about health and wellness, because if we don't have that, we really can't do anything else. And if we're not being fed properly, that's like the ground floor of health. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's big statistics out there, which you probably know better than I do, that how many young children aren't being fed properly at home, and then they come to school, might be the only place that they actually get something that's good to eat. I don't know if you could talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, this was really a concern of ours with the onset of the pandemic, because with schools and childcare centers shut down when the governor shut down those institutions, we were concerned how those children and how those families were going to fare without having access to those meals. So very quickly, we reached out to a lot of the community groups that we worked with during our summer program. And these people were just amazing. Everyone was so fearful of the virus. No one knew what our future looked like with this. But there were so many groups that stepped forward and said, we'll give out meals to the community. And literally in rain, snow, sleet, hail, they were out there once a week distributing meal kits to parents and to children, whoever came, no questions asked. And so each kid had 7 days of breakfast, 7 days of lunches. So it would minimize the contact, but it was knowing that there was a resource for those families, for those kids who really relied on school meals. And so we did that. The school district of Philadelphia did that, and some other groups. But my heroes are those groups that committed to that through the unknown period of this COVID outbreak, and said, we'll be on the front lines, making sure kids and families have food. So that, to me, that just gave meaning to everything during that time, that people were not without.
Well, it's like we said during the show with the Catholic Charities Appeal, it brings hope where hope is needed most. And I would add that it brings food where food is needed most too, right? It's almost
Exactly.
one and the same.
Yeah, one and the same.
Yeah, I want to thank you, because you and your team and all those people who are connected with Nutritional Development Services, they were on that front line in 2020 and 2021, and maybe even still right now, as we're still, in quotes, coming out of this pandemic, which hopefully we are coming out of it, right?
Yes.
I thank you so much personally from me, and also the people here at Journeys in Faith and Fiat Ministry Network, Patchwork Heart Radio, for doing incredible work. As we're headed toward the end of the program, I wondered if you wanted to tell us anything about things that are happening in this year, the end of this year, 2021, and into next year, where people might be able to get involved or giving campaigns, anything like that.
Sure, I would love to do that. We're a little concerned with what's happening with the potential for increased inflation, with the moratorium on the rent subsidies going away, and people not receiving as much in their unemployment, that the holidays may be a very difficult time for a lot of families. There may be situations, we're anticipating situations where people will be in need. So we're concentrating on that. But the other thing that we do have coming up, that we're working with Catholic Social Services on, is the 23rd of October this month. It's called Boot Up Philly. And we will be having in the parking lot at the Archdiocese Office Center, people will be able to come to get a pair of boots for the winter. They will be able to get some diapers, some food, and some other types of things that we are anticipating that people will need as we head into the cold months, knowing that people have not fully recovered from this pandemic and all of its effects. So
yeah, that's good to know, because we're coming into those cooler months, aren't we? And so for them to get that information, would you be able to mention, is there a specific email address or anything that they could reach out for more info, or is it right on that website?
it probably is on the Catholic Social Services website,
Okay.
which I don't know off the top of my head, but it's called Boot Up Philly.
Boot Up Philly. Okay.
Boot Up Philly, and trying to equip people with some of the material things they need as we head into what the Farmer's Almanac says is going to be a crazy winter.
Oh boy. Yeah. Thank you. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So it's good
Yeah.
to know and get prepared and just lift up that prayer before it all happens.
Yes, exactly.
So Liz, I just want to thank you so much for being a guest here on Journeys in Faith. Would you please come back again?
I'd love to. Thank you so much, Ann.
Thank you. God bless. And once again, I just want to mention again, please do connect with Lizanne Hagedorn at nutritionaldevelopmentservices.org. We'll see you all here next week on Journeys in Faith on Fiat Ministry Network. God bless.
Thank you, Ann. God bless you.
Journeys of Faith is a production of Fiat Ministry Network and Patchwork Heart Ministry. For more information about Journeys of Faith, email info@fiatministrynetwork.tv. And be sure to friend, follow, and like us on social media. Just search Journeys in Faith with Ann DeSantis.